You don't have to use them to play or enjoy the game.
So, yes and no.
Yeah, I'm about to argue the shit out of this. Hey, it's me, Jimmy D, and welcome back to Knights of the Geek Table. We're here with a fan-suggested topic.
Because we actually get those nowadays.
Yeah, we have a whole section on our Discord channel, link in the description. But
Buy our stuff.
But the question was whether games, including multiplayer games, needed a story mode, and because they gave examples of Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us,
Undertale.
No. I realize as I'm saying these, most of these are PlayStation exclusives, and John only has an Xbox.
No, but we could still
Witcher
talk
3's
about it.
not.
True.
I mean-
Witcher 3.
Yeah, Witcher 3 is great.
4. He said story mode. He doesn't say the story has to be good, okay? He just said story mode.
Well, if I may, when it comes to story, what's happening now in the gaming industry is the same thing that happened to survival horrors in the mainstream AAA market, which is that all of these companies have convinced themselves, for some reason, that they no longer need to have a story mode in these games.
You can have a story mode, just half-ass it is best.
Well, it's not.
possible.
It is not important. It can be there, but
Mhm.
they don't really focus any time on it. And when I say the same thing that happened to survival horror was back, probably right around where Dead Space 3 came out. That was kind of the last hurrah of any sort of semblance of survival horror games. But even then, Dead Space 3 wasn't really a survival horror game. For whatever reason, AAA markets decided people just don't want horror games anymore.
I mean, there's Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But aside from, those are outliers. You're talking about the newest Resident Evil?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7
Okay,
Biohazard.
that's different. So I'm this year and the end of last year, kind of the exception. For the years previous that, and even then, there's still the exception. It's just for whatever. That's why you're seeing this like on Steam and stuff. You see this big indie genre of horror games because the AAA market really doesn't cater to it, except for like Resident Evil, which just came out. Which I think is now that they're realizing that people actually want to play these games. And I think when it comes to story games, we're going to basically be seeing that for a while because games like Call of Duty, even though we have our own feelings about Call of Duty, they still make money. And Battlefield, same thing.
Oh, do we have our opinions about Call of Duty?
So as long as these keep making money, the gaming industry is saying, well, okay, why do we need a story? Even though for whatever reason, like when Fallout comes out, regardless of the quality, it makes $1 gazillion, or The Witcher 3, and it's just like, well, those I guess are outliers. Let's just don't worry about it.
Yeah. Personally, the story is what drives me to a game.
Mhm.
I mean, Injustice 2, I don't play online. I just wanted to play for the campaign. I have Horizon Zero Dawn. Life is Strange is 99% story, 1% actual doing something.
I don't know. I say story is a matter, but I have a couple of games on my PS4 that I just play as a cooldown. You know, like, oh, hey, I want to play something tonight, but I don't want to do something heavy. Oh, let's play a raid or something, you know?
Yeah, and
Like an hour.
I have those games too. The NASCAR and probably Neverwinter
Yeah.
coming up.
I got Warframe and Neverwinter. Those are games that I don't really want to play for like a couple of hours. I just want to play for about an hour. So
Yeah.
I'll just pop those in.
Well, I mean, myself, as I've gotten older, I've noticed I stopped playing a lot. Like, there's certain ones that I like to play. I like to play Battlefield. What else? Halo, although recently, I play these games and stuff online, but more and more, it's becoming to the point where if it doesn't really have a story or campaign or anything that I really care about, I just don't care about it even more. And even like Doom, for example, the 2016 Doom,
Yeah.
I have that game. I don't really play it that often, even though it's like it has this extensive like single player like campaign. The thing with that is though, it's trying to harken back to like the original Doom where there really wasn't much of a story, and they do that, But as a result of this, even though it's still a single player campaign, since the story itself is kind of put in the back seat, I really don't enjoy it that much, despite how wonderful the gameplay is.
I think with as big as gaming companies are starting to push, like, oh, look what you can do online, or you can play games with friends and whatnot. It's mainly you buy a game mostly to, well, what the fuck can you do online?
Yeah. I think two prime examples of games that where the fans have been like, yeah, we want a story, is Battlefront and Overwatch. Which Overwatch still doesn't even have one.
Overwatch, yes. There's no real reason why I don't think, even if it's a shit story. Because, like, here's the thing about Overwatch. A lot of casual Overwatch fans don't have time to go online to watch the videos or read the lore about, because even I, who like Overwatch, don't really know everybody's freaking connections with, like, why this happens in the game. Like, I don't think the casual knows why 76 and Reaper hate each other.
Yeah.
The fans do.
Well, I think, I mean, I don't play Overwatch, but I think there's kind of an inherent issue with that, is the only way to really do it, I think, for Overwatch is to do what they've been doing. The problem with doing a campaign with something like that, when you have this huge ensemble cast of characters, it's very difficult to tell a narrative with that. My case in point would be like the Hobbit series that where you have, like, well, how many was it? 13 dwarves, and you don't know anything about any of them because there's just so many of them. Same thing. I mean, Overwatch. The Overwatch characters has much more personalities than those dwarves did, but
we had 3 movies to develop them,
and none of them were developed. But it's just, in that case, I think it's difficult even for just an experienced storyteller to have all of these Overwatch characters and try to tell some sort of narrative that actually makes some damn sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yep.
Affirmative.
Oh. Okay.
But and I get that there are so many characters in Overwatch that it would be hard, but
actually, it also, I kind of see where John's coming from, because Overwatch's gameplay is going to be really hard to kind of address to a story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a fighter to where you can pit characters one-on-one. Usually you got to create a reason on why these 4 are fighting for these 4 and why they hate these 4, and it's like, just no.
Yeah, and I get that. My other example should have never been an example, because it should have had a fucking story to start with.
Battlefront? Well, I don't know what the hell DICE was thinking with that. Well, okay, I do know what they're thinking. They were thinking, holy shit, we got to get this out before our deadline. Because they didn't have a lot of time to develop the first Battlefront.
No.
But, like, but with Battlefront 2, I'm actually still, even though I'm a little more excited for it, I'm still kind of pissed in the sense that, great, they have a lot of the stuff from the old Battlefront again, but I expected just the bringing back of stuff in the original game, right? Mm-hmm. So now that, you brought it back for this game, but I want more than just the standard quo.
I have a funny feeling they're going to pull a Destiny 2.
I don't get the vibes from that, but
my worry, because I do have a worry, I am more excited for Battlefront 2 than I was Battlefront 1. But
I am too, because I could not give a shit about Battlefront 1.
But my worry is the story mode is going to have all these nice cutscenes and story driven, and then it's just going to put you in the same maps or something that the multiplayer is going to take place in, and it's just going to be multiplayer but with AIs.
Sorry.
Okay.
For a moment, I thought, "What's that?" We
interrupt this broadcast to bring you Ron Swanson.
Wait, what's that dude's name that's on YouTube? That he's like super crazy.
There's a lot.
He sits at a desk. He was on Megyn Kelly.
Oh, Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
I thought for a moment I heard Alex Jones.
Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Did I even say anything yet?
We
I
were
just-
on.
Battlefield
I was
2.
talking about how Battlefront 2 was gonna, like, I feel like the campaign is gonna have all these nice cutscenes, but it's just gonna
yeah,
be the
That's
multiplayer
exactly what
maps.
it's gonna be. There's no way, like, there's a possibility that they'll probably change up the maps and not just have the multiplayer maps, but that's about that much as they're gonna do because they can't. I don't believe that DICE is going to put in the effort to create single player specific,
No.
like gameplay stuff that'll help flesh out the game. They're not going to do that.
They are so heavily invested in multiplayer.
But that's the thing. Sometimes it's nice just to play alone, which is
Yeah.
why so many people are pushing for the single player games.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah,
I gotta say this.
You don't want
Even-
to continuously get killed online and just say, well, this is boring now.
Well, I will tell you this though. There is something that is killing just games in general, but I think it's really going to start weighing heavily on single player games, and that is microtransactions. So, if I know, but it's true. For example, the new Shadow of Mordor game.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I knew this was coming.
Single player game, but it has microtransactions in it, and it's so absurd, and it's just gonna kill. I can't imagine. Well, I was gonna say I can't imagine Skyrim having it, and then there's the creation.
Todd, this is the 8th time you've brought Skyrim through the class.
I was like, shit. Okay, I can't imagine.
They already do. Bethesda's Creative Club.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. All right, Witcher 3. That's good. That doesn't have microtransactions in it. If it did though, that would be awful, and it would kind of ruin that game, in my opinion. Well, it would take a lot to ruin that game, but it would be on its way. So this, I don't know. This doesn't. So microtransactions does not help single player games, and I think a
No.
lot of them out are going to be. Oh, I think Far Cry 4 or 5 or whatever the new one is going to have them too. Wouldn't surprise me.
Why? I was actually gonna get that one.
I can't. I don't know.
Here's the thing.
I'll have to look that up.
In the defense of microtransactions, I can't believe those words came out of my mouth.
I'm surprised you're not throwing up on the screen.
Tread carefully. I've got an armed SWAT team outside.
I have a button ready to be pushed.
In the defense, yes, you don't, and this. I'm just throwing out the argument everybody throws out. You don't have to buy them, okay? I think what pisses off a lot of people, and do rightfully so, because believe me, I've been in that same boat, is the fact that they're there to begin with, okay? You don't have to use them to play or enjoy the game.
So, yes and no.
Yeah, I'm about to argue the shit out of this.
When it comes to, I cannot and I will not put up with paying $60 for a video game and then having to pay more to play it. That is absurd.
Look,
And I
I'm
won't
just
do
saying, I'm just trying to dress a turd. I understand it's a
No,
turd.
I'm not directing this at you. I'm just
No.
saying
Okay.
it's something that you brought up. I have more tolerance for microtransactions when it's a free-to-play game because that's how they make their money.
Yes.
And so I don't make much of more of an argument with that. But
Free to play game, if it's fun, I don't mind dishing out the microtransaction. Some of them I actually want to dish
Oh.
microtransactions out for.
Well, you're right. Well, I personally don't. I never really do. But I don't mind it
Because
being,
like Neverwinter, if you want to create get more character slots or whatnot, or get like a cool mount or item, yeah, you can dish out. You can dish it out. I do because it's like more character slots. It gives you more time to experiment.
but it bothers me even in free-to-play games. Though it still does kind of bother me when it becomes a pay-to-win. But even then, I still can't. It's still free-to-play. But when I bought the game,
When a $60 game, microtransactions, you have to pay in order to continue.
I
Or-
remember when what was it? It was Halo. It was Halo 5 actually. No, 4 or 5. It was 5. Came out and it had microtransactions for the first time in a Halo game. And I remember Angry Joe, I think it was on his review of it, basically calculated that to get all of the cosmetics and all the items and stuff in the randomized rec packs, I think it would be about $2,000 to do if you actually wanted to get everything. That's fucking absurd.
I hold up. I gotta pick my jaw up because I don't remember that. Holy shit!
That's
I
if you
also
want to get everything.
Here's the
But that-
thing. I don't hate microtransactions because I also come from an MMO background where I'm used to paying monthly for a subscription. So it's like, to me, yes, I fucking hate microtransactions, but it's like it doesn't angrily induce me like it does most gamers.
It does me, but well, but even then in those monthly subscription services, you can still buy other stuff in addition to the monthly subscription. You know what I mean? I cannot stand having my wallet squeezed, and that's what this is.
Exactly.
They're greedy douchebags who want money up front, and then they want more money for it's like buying a car, but then you have to pay extra for the engine. Or to keep paying for the engine to work. Well, I guess that would be buying gasoline, but you know what I mean.
No, I understand. I personally come from the mindset that if I buy a $60 game, that's all I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can play the game. If I want an extra map or the DLC, that's something that's completely different.
Yeah, I don't mind DLC just in general. The Witcher 3 I always use as an example. The Witcher 3 is a complete, full, amazing game.
Mm-hmm.
They released DLC for it, but the first few weeks of DLC were actually free, and then the 2 paid DLCs were incredibly expansive. The second one can be basically a game in and of itself, just completely separate from the main game.
Yeah.
They were incredibly high quality DLCs. I didn't mind dishing out the money for those. In fact, I willingly did so. But if they had nickeled and dined me the entire time, there's no way in hell I would have done that.
That's exactly how I feel with Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, I haven't finished the game, but I know it's a complete game. And the DLC...
That's what I did with Fallout 3. Like, I beat Fallout 3, then I went and I played some of the DLCs.
Yeah.
Some of them were fun.
The DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be this winter. It's basically another campaign. And it's $15 for PlayStation Plus users. So it's like, I don't mind that.
I wouldn't mind that either. I can't stand, whenever I just see a game now with microtransactions, I pretty much just don't, I seriously consider just not buying it. Straight up. Because it's just so frustrating. And in a lot of cases, and especially with these, I'm already paying $60 for the game, oftentimes these microtransactions will be pay to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I'll go back to Halo 5. The thing with the excuse they used for Halo 5 was you could only use the rec packs that I was talking about, the microtransactions, in the arena mode, which was a non-ranked, just kind of community playlist. Mm-hmm. When you played a ranked game that had to do with your actual level and being competitive, you couldn't use them. That being said, though, the problem was that most people play the community thing anyway.
Yeah.
And in that gameplay or in that arena, it's pay to win. You can get specific rec cards to spawn a wraith or a tank or a fuel rod cannon, where somebody else just can't. It's absurd.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what modern examples of that. Oh, well, I can't think of a pay to win, but well, actually, this does work. So I've been playing Rainbow Six Siege lately, and the way that the game works is I think you get all of the maps for free as they come out. Mm-hmm. Although, side note, so recently they released new maps for the game, but I guess they could not handle the amount of maps in the game. So I think they're making some of the original maps that came out with the game, you can't access them anymore to make way for the new one.
Oh.
Which I'm like, I don't like paying for content and then getting the content revoked. But the way the game works is every year they release new maps and new operators, which are basically like characters in Overwatch, for example.
Yeah.
But you have to pay for those operators, whether it be through, basically DLC. Now you can get them with in-game currency, but it takes for fucking ever. Like, I've been playing for a while now, and I only have a third of the way to one character, right? And there's a shit ton of characters that I could get. And these characters, actually, they do perform differently. They are better than some of the launch game characters that you have access to. And it is essentially a pay to win. Now, is it possible to overcome them with some of the basic characters? Sure, but it's not easy. It's not fun.
I completely understand. Like, I mean, in a way, that kind of sounds a little bit like Overwatch.
Pay to win should be to help you, not required.
I would say if there are microtransactions, my general rule of thumb is if there are microtransactions in the game that actually affect the gameplay, I don't bother. I won't even go near it.
Yeah.
If there's purely aesthetic with character skins, I've never really cared about that stuff. Then I don't really care. Other people do. That's fine. I don't. Now, certain people, like for example, Jim Sterling, he will argue that that whether it affects the gameplay or if it's just a skin or something, it doesn't matter. It's the same. Because his argument is the skins and paints and things like that you use on characters and guns affects people's enjoyment of the game.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wants a skin but they can't have it if they have to pay, that affects their experience of the game. Which I could see that argument, but I personally don't give a shit about that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know. I guess it's my own personal preference. Though,
yeah,
but,
skins really don't bother me. I mean,
I think I'm the only one here who actually likes skins. I do.
Well, I like them too. If I get if I'm playing a game and you've unlocked a skin, okay, cool, I'll use it, but I'm not gonna pay for it.
No, I mean that's kind of how I going back to my NASCAR game because it's fresh in my head, but they announced literally the day before the game came out, DLC, and it's just basically paint schemes. You can get a new spotter pack, which is the crew chief and all that's in your head when you're racing. I mean that didn't really bother me. The thing that bothered me though was they called it a season pass, and it was $30, right?
But let me ask you something.
But it's only until December 31st. It's only the 2017 stuff. Once 2018 starts, you don't get the DLCs with that. And I'm like, why wait 3 months?
Let me ask you something. When you hold on, exactly what comes in the DLC again?
It basically would be all paint schemes, crew chief stuff.
Are they new stuff or stuff that's already in the game that you just get?
New stuff.
Okay. When I hear that, it just gives me this kind of slimy feeling. It's just stuff that if I popped in a NASCAR game,
yeah,
being able to customize my crew and the colors of my car and the paint schemes and all this nonsense, I would expect that to just be in there.
Yeah, and it's there's some in there.
Well, I know there's got to be some, but
yeah,
but I mean a lot because when you're talking about things you can do in NASCAR, there's the most you can really at some point the actual gameplay itself you can't really do much with because it still has to be NASCAR. So you would inherently be releasing a game where what really a lot of stuff that really matters more so than just the gameplay is that of skins and colors and things like that. So you'd expect that to be much more expansive.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they're releasing that with more DLC, well, let me ask you, the base level of stuff in the game, do you think it's enough?
Personally, it's enough for me. They added 2 other series, the lower series, the trucks and the Xfinity, which is kind of like college football NASCAR. And they added all that. They have the most amount of drivers they've ever had, like real life drivers they've ever had in a NASCAR game. A bunch of new tracks. So personally, to me, I'm going to be occupied for a long while. Now, some of my old NASCAR games I used to play used to have like an in-depth paint booth where I designed my own logos to go on the car. Mm-hmm. That's just not in this game. But I understand because it's a new developer, indie kind of developer, building it from the ground up, so it's kind of understandable. And they did add a little bit of customization, kind of like it's kind of like Dark Souls type customization, where it's the little bars and like each bar is a different type of paint scheme, and you can adjust the colors and all for your customized trucks. And yes, that's better than what it was, but I kind of like to put my own name on the truck and like stuff like that.
Well, let me ask you that. Can anyone remember, and I know you can, but do you remember back, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago maybe? Trying to think. Maybe a little bit more than that. But what I'm saying is...
Wait. This is the realm of motion controls. You best tread lightly.
No. Fuck the Wii and all that. I'm just saying, I can remember playing games like, Halo 3, Halo Reach, or even the original Call of Duties like COD 4, Modern Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Having to pay like actual real money to change your character's appearance. Like in Halo, and Reach had a really expensive like customization for your armor.
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty really didn't let you customize your soldier
You
like
customize guns or maybe a loadout.
Yeah, guns.
And your emblem.
Yeah, your emblem. But you couldn't pay, like, being able to pay for that would have just, like, there's no way anybody...
It would have destroyed me.
What the hell? Like, you would never have that. But nowadays, it's just commonplace.
Yeah.
And one thing that worries me is, especially a lot of young players, I don't think they've never experienced, I don't think, a gaming market where you didn't have to pay for this.
You know what was kind of the downfall of the whole pay-to-win thing? The rise of mobile gamings.
Yeah.
The rise of mobile gamings kind of brought forth this whole microtransactions and pay-to-win kind of mindset.
Candy Crush. It's the Candy Crush effect.
Yeah, that's what kind of... When they realize how much money is worth in mobile gaming and microtransactions, it's them realizing, do you know how much profits we could fucking get on this shit?
Well, yeah, and that's why Konami is the way it is now. Hashtag fuck Konami.
Yes. Yeah, sure. I will be back. I have to make a beer run.
Beer run?
A beer run. I'll be back.
Okay, I guess we're ending this.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess, I mean...
I'm not cutting that out. That's going to be fucking hilarious. But yeah, the mobile games is what brought in all this.
It is true. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's when I talked about earlier that the AAA market convincing themselves that people don't want single-player campaigns anymore. It wouldn't surprise me if that is one of the contributing factors that did that. I can just imagine this guy in a suit walking into an office full of other guys in suits who have never played video games before, and just like see these profit margins. That's what we need.
Well, and also the fact is, if they're making all these games with stories, and the people might not spend as much time in multiplayer, then what's the need? Then they won't be spending the money on the microtransactions to get the stuff for multiplayer, which is most of the microtransactions is in multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm honestly the games that I'm playing now, none of them have microtransactions.
And that's good. I just don't. I think the only one that I have that's really heavy on the microtransactions would be Rainbow Six Siege, which I just started recently.
Yeah.
Oh, and Destiny but I bought Destiny day one. I didn't really have a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
And it was and then after that,
I could just imagine John not having a choice in the matter of Destiny. His friends just kind of dragging him. No, you cannot make me.
I was excited for the first Destiny because I mean, if you remember that original Destiny market, they lied to us. They straight up lied on what was in Destiny.
Oh fuck yeah, they did.
So when I bought day one Destiny, I was like, oh, this was gonna be great, and then I played it, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I never played it after that.
Which is kind of funny that you mentioned Destiny, because this is the 50th episode of Nights. And our first episode of Nights with you and all.
Destiny. Well,
one
of our first was kind of the whole group set.
This is the 50th episode of Nights since our foundation with John and all.
Yeah. And his first episode was Destiny.
Well, it was No Man's Sky, but we compared it to Destiny.
Yeah.
With all the microtransactions. So
hey man, I'm just saying, No Man's Sky 2, when that comes out, we're doing a big shebang.
No Man's Sky 2, fuck you.
I mean, are they actually making that?
I don't know. They better not.
Dude,
I'm actually.
They got sued by the country of England.
Oh, they did. I forgot. They did.
Was that because of the algorithm they used or something, or was that somebody else?
No,
because they lied.
They got sued by England for flat out lying to people.
Well, I'm interested in because obviously Hello Games still exists because they are continually releasing support for.
They just released the Foundation pack.
Yeah, they did. I'm just curious. like, but after this, is Hello Games dead? Like, I don't even. Are they working on anything else?
It's about as
No.
dead as a
They
zombie.
may not be dead, but people are going to be so skeptical about their next game because we got so burned by No Man's Sky.
Burned. We are crisp.
I just imagine, I can't help but imagine the showman, like, who's Hello Games, but, like, on stage, revealing his amazing thing that ends up being garbage, so he gets shot in the chest and he's forced to clean up the blood. Like...
No, it's like, no, it's just, he's releasing his game, it cuts to the crowd, and everybody's... Go on, quick. Was that a speck of blue? You said there wouldn't be any blue.
But I don't know.
They would
But
be over analyzing that shit.
If Hello Games released a No Man's Sky 2, I mean, I would definitely be more skeptical of it.
It'd be called One Man's Sky.
I would be skeptical of any game they release.
Well, yeah, definitely any game. It's just I still want what they advertise, and I think it's still doable. So whether it be Hello Games or somebody else, I would still like that game to exist.
I think we will probably have to wait a bit.
Yeah, because no one else is going to be like, yeah, we're promising the same shit they did.
People are still so burnt from No Man's Sky that
like,
it's going to be a while.
But you could still do it. All you would need to do is basically, it's just whoever develops it would just have to be a little more open. So somebody like Bethesda is not a good idea because they completely quiet about everything they do. But
yeah.
You know, basically just say, hey, listen, we're developing this game. We understand that kind of it's very similar to No Man's Sky. We understand the backlash, and basically, you know, have this basically be very open on social media of what they're doing. Have like tours of the studio with people developing, like, hey, this is what we're doing. You know, if you be very open about it,
show us multiplayer gameplay.
Here's the thing. I'm okay with that. What studio would you want to do it though?
Sony.
You know,
I honestly don't have. If it was Perfect World, I would say CD Projekt Red because I think they're actually my favorite developer right now. It was my favorite was Bethesda before Fallout 4, and then my kind of reevaluating of their previous works. But CD Projekt Red, they made Witcher 3, which, by the way, they're actually currently making. What is it called? It's a Cyberpunk 2077, I think is what it's called. Which they got a grant from their government. They're in one of the Nordic countries. I forgot which one. I think it was Poland, maybe. Anyway, they got a grant from the government to make the game.
Your government pays you to make video games.
Here's the thing. Did you ever see that 10-year anniversary video for Witcher they released?
Oh, that was great.
I'm not gonna lie, I felt emotions.
Oh, everybody did. I said that.
That was fantastic, and I've never even played it.
I felt emotions. I'm like, y'all are gonna make me cry, and I'm at work, and I'm not gonna get asked why am I crying.
And it's actually, and the reason I actually say CD Projekt Red because I just mentioned they got a grant to make that game. The reason they got a grant for that is because CD Projekt Red is trying to. They specifically said they're going to try to do. It's a technology grant because they're planning on trying to create new AI and new ways to experience multiplayer unlike anything we've ever seen before, which is the intention, which is a big promise. And I'm still
don't get me wrong. Here's the thing. I hate it when people say that because it is one of those stage trigger words. Everyone at like E3 or every company tries to say, we're trying to create multiplayer, the word by which you've never seen before.
Multiplayer it seemed though that multiplayer was secondary in that. I think they were really focusing on the actual because they make single player games. That's what they focus on.
Yeah.
So I think that's really what they're worried about. I don't even know. Frankly, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't even know if Cyberpunk may even have multiplayer or not. I actually don't know. I assume
if they make it like Blade Runner, I'd be all for it.
Yeah. But that's why I would choose them to make the game that I kind of want because I feel like they would have the devotion and the drive and the sincerity.
They're definitely gonna have the devotion and drive because they've kind of
and the government grants.
We're done with The Witcher. Like the Witcher series, we're done. Don't ask us to make like a Witcher 4 or a Gwent 2. No, we're done. Okay, we're working on our next project.
Yeah.
And I'm which by the way I forgot the exact. It's actually kind of sad because from what I understand, The Witcher 3, the number of people working on it, the actual production staff, as well as the budget, was I think like a quarter or maybe a third of what was in what Bethesda was using for Fallout 4 and what Gearbox was using for It wasn't Gearbox. Was it? Who did Grand Theft Auto? Was that
Rockstar.
Rockstar.
Yeah.
That Rockstar did for GF5, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Speaking of Gearbox, there is heavily rumors of making Borderlands 3, which, if it is, I'm excited.
I saw the thing where it was like confirmed the entire studio is working on Borderlands 3. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know where.
I don't know if it's true. If it is, I'm so hyped because I love Gearbox.
If they're making Borderlands 3, Cody, I hope you are ready for a day off.
I liked Gearbox until they shat in my face with Colonial Marines.
They fucking did that.
And now whenever I want to see Randy Pitchford, I want to punch him in the fucking face. So
I forgot they did Colonial Marines.
I did too.
Yeah. I never forget that kind of stuff. I love the Aliens franchise, so when they released that, I was like...
Huh.
I think that's about it.
Yep. So...
Funny how story mode got all the way ended to Aliens.
It went with a little dive into microtransactions.
Oh, but actually, real quick, I mean, since we brought up Aliens Colonial Marines, that's actually another good example of why I think the AAA studios have convinced themselves of like no campaign, because something like Aliens will come along and say, oh, well, we had a campaign in that and people didn't like it. Completely oblivious to the fact that it was because the campaign was garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, maybe your campaign, maybe people didn't like your campaign, maybe your game's just shit.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Like I said, I guess we're taking suggestions now.
I mean, yeah. I mean...
we have a thing on our Discord, link in the description, like I said. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.
I would like to suggest for the next video, see how many hot dogs Cody can eat in one sitting.
While doing a beer run.
Yeah.
I am your fraternity bro.
But thank you so much for watching.
Just walks into the convenience store stuffing hot dogs with the beer in the van.
With a selfie stick duct taped to him.
Some burritos and a Bud Light.
You're not allowed to even like stop eating the hot dogs while you're at the cash register. That's gonna do it for this 50th episode of Nights. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
How far we've come.
We have not come far at all. We ended it talking about the same shit we talked about episode 1.
Let's see how far we've come.
Which makes...
If anything, that's just, it reflects on how cyclical the gaming industry is, that how shitty it continues to be.
Yeah, and over a year and a half.
We started Nights to really talk about gaming. There was so little to talk about gaming, we moved it over to fucking superheroes.
For like 8 months.
And now we're finally coming back in gaming, and it's like, so...
Where are we?
It's so sad that it's actually, I feel like it's gotten worse since we started in the gaming industry.
Like, oh my god, there's so much other. Like,
I love how I'm supposed to end it now.
What the hell up? Continue, Cody.
This E3
was shit.
That was depressing. Like, I watched that and I was like, wow, I want to go like drink a beer in a corner naked or something. Like, that was not good.
You're just gonna sit in the shower.
Why? I just want good games.
Everybody.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I was shocked. Can't remember an E3 that was that bad. It wasn't even bad. It wasn't
bad. It was just depressing because it's like there's not really like there was some announcement of some good games.
Name 2 things that you remember.
God of War. Well, they did more God of War. But the bad part is there's already a lot of the good stuff they already kind of announced.
The one thing that was announced at E3 that I'm looking forward to is Anthem, that a BioWare.
Anthem pissed me off.
Oh. I don't know why.
Not the actual gameplay, the presentation of Anthem pissed me off.
I didn't see the presentation. I only saw the thing online afterwards. So I didn't see the presentation.
No, what they showed you online was what they showed you. Anthem pissed me off because one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to E3 is that scripted mic chat You know, of like, man, this is a really good game. Let's fly.
Yeah, I know. They did that for the Division too. That was Ubisoft. Yeah, I don't mind it that much. I know it's bullshit.
I mean, they're trying to show it off
so much because I'm like, that's not how real gamers play.
Have you seen? There was a video.
I have you know, I run as Aloy. I run through the world, and I look at one of them beasts. I'm like, let's kill it. And then I die.
You're not talking to your partner like, oh man, we should totally bring Kara and Daniel in, and they could totally come and they just Iron Man jump the fuck down.
Well,
like, hey guys, what did we miss?
Oh man, what was I gonna say? Oh, have you seen the video? It was a video online. It was on YouTube, where it's basically putting real gamer talk into the internet. It was great. It was like, hey man, we're gonna fight this monster. Nah, it's just a bullet sponge. Keep going. Oh, I hate those.
Yeah. Like, if you did that, I would be okay.
I just if they just okay. The only reason they really did that, or they're kind of obligated, is just to show that it was a multiplayer game. Because if they had just shown that footage without the talking, it wouldn't have really it would just, you'd think it was like a multiplayer or a single player game.
Bullshit, because they've shown multiplayer games with another person there, and they didn't have that stupid ass speak talk going through.
Yeah, well, they wanted it to be more cinematic or more,
just play the fucking game.
Maybe they may not be able to. I mean, it could be not that far in production for them to be able to do that.
I don't care. They're assholes, and they're just assholes, and that's a dick move, okay?
Dick move, bro. Dick move.
I fucking hate it. I hate it.
But from what they were
automatically turns me off. I hate it so much it automatically turns me off on your freaking game when you do that.
That may be for you. I put aside that in my head. What they're actually showing there, which is essentially Iron Man the game, I'm interested.
I'm interested in South Park because that was fun, but that's coming out in like a month.
Yeah, literally a month.
Fractured Butthole?
Yeah. Also, that pirate game from Rare.
Oh my god, the one where we were jumping everywhere and all. And I was like, if we all had the same machine, which now all of us but one have, hello.
That's fine. I'll just go over and kill you. It's cool. I'll take what you have.
John's gonna be the Blackbeard. I'm stealing your systems.
Yeah, I'll just steal your fucking PlayStation, John. You got enough money from your YouTube career to buy another one.
My $1.48 is not gonna buy me a new PlayStation. Maybe a PlayStation 1 with a broken disc drive.
Half a controller.
No, the pirate game looked fucking awesome. Like, we could just get 8 people just going and have a whole bandit ship, like, but only I don't even know if it's for PlayStation. I think it's Xbox One and Windows 10.
The sad thing is, I kind of want to rewatch our E3 video, but our E3 video is shit.
Oh, the Knights? Yeah, I can't watch that shit.
I want to watch because I honestly cannot remember half the shit that was shown at E3.
I know Horizon Zero Dawn was shown, and I don't remember it. The DLC.
But I do remember Skyrim was shown.
Oh
boy, Skyrim.
I remember Skyrim.
Refrigerator edition.
Hey man.
Hey, I remember Skyrim from the past 17 E3s.
Bethesda's E3 was very, I can't say that it was bad because it did show new games. It's just none of those games interested me.
The only game I remember that really was interesting.
Bethesda's E3 was bad. The only thing that was good about their E3 was Wolfenstein.
I remember that zombie one. I forget the name.
Bethesda, to me, I think I said Bethesda was the worst show.
I can't say that it's bad because they showed Evil Within, they showed Wolfenstein. These are all good games. I'm just not interested in any of them.
But no, here's the thing. I'm interested in Wolfenstein. But to me, I hated them show because they had an hour-long conference. Those maybe took up about 15 minutes. The rest of that shit was for games we already saw or their fucking creative club.
Well, I think that was mostly just because Bethesda, they kind of with Fallout 4, they reserve the space at E3 to do this every time there's an E3. And I think at this point they were like, well, we have to do it, so we'll just do something.
I don't care. It was the worst show.
Anyway, 15 minutes in.
Howard.
15 minutes later. Thank you so much for
We
watching.
need to get that off our chest. He said Anthem.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. And like always, I will see you in the next one. Later.